He called us demons. I don't know what is going on with him. And I know he's, dealing with a lot of stress.
This case where we are, I know initially Judge Crawford handled it for me, put some parameters in place. And I am having the status calendar primarily to determine whether or not those parameters occurred. And so let me just start with the Grams. Can you tell me where we are with regard to those conditions being met?
Okay, he did pay the $333 on time.
Okay.
He did give us the address, but at 12 midnight, he gave the phone number with, he kind of like text things that, were very disparaging. What
do you mean?
Well, I mean, I think that, he thinks that we are, well, he called us demons, but I feel like, I don't know what is going on with him. And I know he's, dealing with a lot of stress, but please iterate no disparaging remarks, none, because we want to be respected. Okay. We are talking to our grandchildren. We did the 2 hours and then we did 1 hour on Thursday instead of Wednesday, but that's okay. We're just talking to them. I need it to be quiet because there's a lot of background noise. We tend to want to, kind of like be with them and spend time with them. And we hear a lot of talking in the background, loud talking in the background. And maybe it would be, like some place a room that, that they could be, just us, and their aunts and their cousins, to be, this is an hour that we have that we need to have some quiet. And, we play music and we do things, to cheer them up, but we don't want to hear all that noise in the background. Other issues, I just wanted to address, we are responsible for the picking up and the delivering, of our grandchildren. And we want to address that we would be able to fly them. And, once, we do the driving and stuff, it's gonna, just flying back and forth to, because we are going to pay for it. So that it'll be a little bit more lighter on us.
How old are the children?
8 and 10. Now we can have my daughter fly and then pick them up at the airport or, the stewardess. But for now, my daughter would come because the cost of gas.
So let me stop you with regard to the flying issue. I don't know if the flying was addressed. That might be a motion that you need to make for the court because everyone has to get notice of what you're trying to do. I get a little leery when we're flying young kids 8 and 10 if there's an objection to it, and then alternatively, if there's an objection to it, it would be to send someone like you just said, and that's more palatable for the court. But I can't make any of those decisions right now because Mr. Crowley has the right to have notice that that's what you want, so he can think through it. It may not even be necessary for you all to come back to the court, which is kind of what I'm hoping. At some point, you get to a point where you make decisions that do not require for you to come to the court because it takes up time and energy to do that. And then I have to decide something that is really honestly reasonable. And then I have to, it's not good for you all to spend the court's resources and time on something you should be able to agree to. You both have, I'm not, and Mr. Crowley is not upping you on your rights. You're the parent, you have ultimate rights, but the grandparents have rights as well. And so you got to acknowledge them. So don't withhold things that are going to be reasonable, that's reasonably going to happen. It's just a waste of time and energy. And then you come to the court and you want me to be reasonable. when you're not being reasonable, and then all of a sudden it leads to you paying fees and fines and doing things that generally you wouldn't have to do if you're not reasonable. So just keep that in mind. But I can't deal with the flying right now because that's something you all need to talk about. Even if you can't speak to each other by phone, I don't know what kind of relationship you have with regard to that, but send emails and texts and try to get that issue resolved before you have to come back before the court. So, because I can definitely see the travel might be an issue depending on where Mr. Crowley live. And I thought at one point, Mr. Crowley, and forgive me if I'm wrong, is this the case Mr. Crowley lived with you all at one point or no? I've had a couple of, this is the case. Okay. So Mr. Crowley, you're now out of state. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Where are you? Is it Louisiana or something?
Yes, I currently stay in the state of Louisiana.
Louisiana. Okay, I'm right. Okay, so what I suggest you guys kind of talk through it, because that is a good length to travel. But the age of the kid is also kind of concerning to me. I think about 12 is when the courts start allowing the stewardess flight, but a little bit earlier than that, you might have to send someone, and that's a little bit more expensive. But that might be some concern. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't agree otherwise, because I'm not prejudging the case. Sometimes the kid's maturity and things of that nature are consideration, but I want you to be mindful of that, okay?
Sure, Honor.
One moment. Okay, I'm back. All right, then. So money is paid. You got the phone numbers. You said there was some issues with you talking on Thursday instead of Wednesday, but that was satisfied. You guys worked through that. So the only issue right now is just no disparaging remarks, and be mindful of quiet in the background so that you'll have that, concentrated moments with your grandchildren. Okay, that sounds reasonable. What's your position, Mr. Crowley?
My position is, as far as my background noise, I have small children as well, especially a 1-year-old. My 1-year-old be the loudest one in the house because he's excited, and from time to time he like to be around Noah and Emily. So we try to separate him from the room, but he just keeps coming back.
You can, huh?
We are adults, not babies.
And we also in a household where my fiance.
I'm sorry, what was, you said you were adults but not babies. What do you mean by that?
We hear adults talking, not babies.
Oh, okay. So I see what you're saying. You hear adults talking. So just, where do you live? A house, apartment, what?
I stay in a house. It's me, my fiance, and my children.
Yeah, put them in a room away from the noise, and the 1-year-old, if you just keep them, in the room with you all so that they can have that time with their grandparents, that should work.
Now, I also like to mention there's be times when Noah and Emily cannot hear their conversation as well because of their background noise as well. So it's,
Okay, well, then we'll fix it. That no issue. So if they, now, and did Noah and Emily mention to you that they're concerned about their background noise, or you're making that comment?
No, they'll come to me and let me know. Also, there'll be times again where Noah will actually get up and just walks away from the camera, even sometimes Emily, because they cannot hear the audio from them because there's too much backgrounds. See, what they do, they'll have a whole video chat with the entire family, and everyone over talks to each other.
So listen, one issue is there in your background noise. We're going to fix that. If they're going to bring in other family members, it might be a little noisy on that. Just try to keep the kids, from, just walking away. Now, if there are audio technical issues, they should be able to come to you. But if the kids are saying it's too noisy for them to meet with other people, you're going to have to encourage them to recognize that they're not in the same state, and this is the only way for them to meet with their other part of the family. That's a little bit different than them trying to have a conversation with them, and you got extra background noise that doesn't feed the relationship. When they're talking with them, it's for them, the relationship to be fed to them, not for them, not the opposite way. So your background noise is a little bit different from that background noise because they have family members who are trying to talk to them in a family environment. So it's a little bit different. Does that make sense to you? I mean, it's not the same, but regardless, you certainly want to make sure Noah and Emily are able to hear other family members as well. So for the Grahams, just be mindful that when y'all are too chatty, the kids get unnerved by so much so much background noise where they can't participate either because they can't hear. So just be mindful of that. But particularly, Mr. Crowley, I'm instructing you to make sure that the kids are in a separate room away from background noise. Okay.
Is it fine that they're in the room with me?
No, why would they be in a room with you?
I don't know, they're just comfortable around me,
No, that's not necessary. They're 8 and 10 years old. They can be in a room by themselves and listen and talk with their grandparents. You do not need to supervise that conversation. In fact, I don't think you should supervise that conversation. There's nothing for you to supervise unless there's some issue coming with me. Most of the time, I'm actually surprised it's not even in the order. It tells you you're not supposed to listen to the conversations. Yeah. So we don't have it in this order, but most orders I have, when I have phone conversations between parent and child, I always put in there, you're not to listen to it, because then you kind of micromanage their relationship, and that's not for you to do. And unless the kids come to you with something like, somebody said something or did something or hurting their feelings, and you need to, come in for supervision purposes, then you could bring that to the court's attention. But generally, there's no need for you to supervise their conversation.
I'm sorry. The reason why I'm around is because there's be times where they do come up to me and ask me questions like, sometimes the grandparents or their auntie be like, hey dad, they asked me if I could do this, and they'll offer the kids something, the kids come from me for for permission or something. So that's
fine. Yeah, they can do it after you're out of the room. They can come to you later. I don't know if there's anything specifically that they need. So just be mindful. Giving them their time with their grandparents. If they come to you and say, hey, aunts want to know if I can, accept something, then you could just respond to them at that point in time, but it doesn't require you to stay in the room with them while they're having those conversations. All right. So no disparaging remarks. I think he said you wrote something about them being demons.
Yeah, wasn't in my mindset. I was, like she said, I was stressed, I'm going through the emotions, but I washed all that away. I'm a whole different person now. I'm not even on that type of time. I just let them do their things. I'm sorry. I just let them have their little conversations with the children and just keep it pushing,
Okay, and that's good. Yeah, give the kids an opportunity because they lost their mom, right? And this is what they have. This is what they have to hold on to. So let them do that. I appreciate that, Mr. Crowley. Let's prevent disparaging remarks. So we'll do an order basically indicating no disparaging remarks. Of course, that goes both ways. And Clint limiting the background noise. I think that would be something that the court could do. That's not new, but the flying issue is new. You're gonna have to motion for that. But I suggest you all talk to come up with a time frame. You're like, okay, when they're 12, this is what we'll do. Or when one of them is 12, that's fine. But for right now, flying might be okay, but you got to send somebody to come get them. And think through that. To the extent you can't come to an agreement, then bring it before the court and I'll hear it. Okay. All right. Thank you. Y'all take care. Miss Zimmerman, were you on the case? Why were you here this morning?
I was invited to be here. I was told to be here in case this case needed to go to mediation for some reason. That's it. So,
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
Zimmerman was assigned to the 9 o'clock calendar, which is your calendar that's actually in person. I may not have put in person. I just assume whenever I say trial that it's recognized to be in person. But of course, then I didn't want to excuse her because I'm not allowed to excuse her. But of course, your 9 o'clock does not request mediation at all. But I told her the court would be the only one that could excuse her.
Okay, I got it. Okay, yeah, Ms. Zimmerman, it looks like you were actually called in for the trial calendar, but that trial calendar is going to be in person anyway. And so I'll go ahead and excuse you for today. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Take care. All right. So Alina, I'll see you back at the courthouse.
Yes, ma'am. May I call you real fast?
Yes. Thank you so much. You all take